Hello everyone. My name is Dr. Rakhi Srani and I am specialized in oral medicine and gynecology. And today I'll be discussing about microbial alteration and breast cancer. So as we all know, in every corner of human life and they affect every aspect of human life. The discovery of microbes it dates back to the 1700s and since then people have been trying to discover the secrets of microorganisms. Over the next 200 years, with the advances in microscopy and other technologies, the understanding of microorganisms has become more and more profound. The human body is one such super creature harboring about 10 folds as many microbial cells as its own body. It may come as a surprise to many that only a small proportion of our genetic material is inherited from our parents, whereas a major portion of our genetic blueprint is actually shared with the microbial communities. Different body sites have different microbes. These microbes reside in or on the tissues or biological fluids, including skin, lungs, mammary glands, GIT, urinary tract, placenta, seminal fluid, saliva, and many more. Speaking of the human microbiota, the first thing that sparks in our minds is the gut microflora, since it harbors 99% of the microbial mass, which contributes to gross metabolic functions of the body. Multiplex of bacteria, viruses, fungi, archaea, and small protozoan resides within our gut. As compared to the researches on correlation of gut microflora with different types of cancer, oral microflora is not so extensively studied. Although it is a well-known fact that a core microbiome characteristics of health does exist and it is markedly large in oral cavity than in other sites. So this raises the need to explore a scientific frontier and answer some questions like uh, can we identify the oral microbial communities that increase predisposition to breast cancer? Is there a direct relationship between dysbiosis of oral microbiome and breast cancer development? Is it possible to manage pain in breast cancer patients by exploiting the role of oral microbiota? So, against this background, in this presentation, the findings of the recent researches showing a correlation between oral microbiome and breast cancer will be analyzed and presented. So, Human Microbiome Project, also called HMP, it was launched in 2007, which is a research initiative by the National Institute of Health or NIH with the goal to identify and characterize the human microbiome. These microflora, as I discussed before, they play a very major role in helping the body to perform tasks like controlling the immune system, metabolic functions, protecting against harmful bacteria, digestion, and neurological functions. Now, advancements in technology and cost reduction of sequencing have led to an increase in profiling of human microbiome through 16S rRNA gene taxonomic, metagenome, and metatranscriptome analysis. Now, microbiome in homeostasis and dysbiosis, each anatomical site of the body, as I told before also, it harbors a distinct community of microorganisms. Now, this complex dynamic interaction of the microbes with the host cells, it affects cellular metabolism, it affects inflammatory function, it affects immunological functions and neurological functions. So, if however any disruption in this equilibrium due to any reason results in a state of dysbiosis leading to an impaired microbiota. Now talking specifically about oral microflora, there is something called human oral microbiome database or HOMD. Now this HOMD, this database is the first curated description of human associate microbiome which provides tools for understanding the role of microbiome in health and disease. So the purpose of HOMD is to provide the scientific community with comprehensive information on the approximately 700 prokaryotes species that are present in human oral cavity. Now, this diversity in species, it depends on microenvironment within the oral cavity, which includes the teeth, tongue, hard palate and soft palates, tonsils and gingival sulcus. Now, accordingly, Nine specimens were collected in HMP population. The sites were subgingival dental plaque, supragingival dental plaque, retinized gingiva, palate, buccal mucosa, tonsils, throat, saliva, tongue, soft tissues. The most abundant bacterial species which are seen in the oral cavity are Fusobacteria, Firmicutes, Bacteroides, Actinobacteria, Proteobacteria, Spirochetes and Saccharobacteria. So, if any dysbiosis happens in this oral cavity, it will affect whole system, all the system, and it will lead to many systemic diseases. So, this imbalance of microflora will contribute to oral disease such as dental caries and periodontitis. So the next question which arises is, how does periodontitis happens? What are the factors? How the gingivitis it goes and transforms into periodontitis? So the subgingival crevice is flooded with GCF, which is nothing but gingival clavicular fluid, which emerges or which creates a neutral or alkaline environment due to presence of nitrogenous compounds. As the sulcus deepens, this environment is established, and under these conditions, asaccharolytic and anaerobic or proteolytic bacteria such as Fusobacterium, Eubacterium, Campylobacter, Prevotella and Porphyromonas, they are found. They are proteolytic bacteria. Okay, so they can degrade nitrogenous compounds into small peptides and amino acids by cell membrane bound or extracellular secreted proteases. So, however, these enzymes secreted by the microorganisms for degrading the nitrogenous compounds induce inflammation and immunoreactions. This induces inflammation and increase in GCF and induce and promote the growth of more proteolytic bacteria like P. gingivalis and enhance the pathogenicity of P. intermedia through the increase in proteolytic activity and cytotoxic end products. So, as discussed before also, that oral dysbiosis in oral microflora will cause many systemic diseases. Okay, so it contributes to variable systemic diseases like GI diseases like inflammatory bowel disease, liver cirrhosis, pancreatic cancer, nervous system diseases like Alzheimer's diseases, endocrine disease like diabetes, adverse pregnancy outcomes, obesity, immune system diseases like rheumatoid arthritis or rheumatic disease, and HIV infection, and cardiovascular systems like atherosclerosis. So these new observations have critically transformed the traditionally accepted views, especially on the opportunistic chronic pathogens of the chronic cavity of the oral cavity and how those microbes may have engaged with human health and diseases. Now coming next to the next part of our presentation, which is breast cancer. So just we'll focus on few facts about breast cancer. Breast cancer is the second most prevalent carcinoma worldwide and the most frequently diagnosed malignancy in women. It is the leading cause of mortality from cancer in women and affects more than 0.6 million deaths as shown in 2016 database. So it is a multifactorial disease, and one of the risk factor which is recently been investigated very extensively is the role of human microbiome in breast cancer. So the recent studies have illustrated the risk of diverse genetic elements and biomarkers in breast cancer progression. These comprise of inherited loss and mutations in breast cancer BRCA1 and 2 genes, expression of estrogen receptor or ER, progesterone receptor or PR, and human epidermal growth factor receptor 2 or HERS2 or HERS2. Now, other than this, additionally, there is an interplay of several environmental and lifestyle components which has also been closely associated with an increased incidence of breast cancer. The factors range from unhealthy diet, sedentary routine, smoking, obesity to an exposure of radiation, consumption of alcohol, tobacco, hormonal contraceptives, as well as hormone receptor replacement therapy. So the risk of breast cancer positively correlates with increasing age in women, and majority of the breast cancer cases are diagnosed following menopause. So one of the modifiable risk factor that is gaining much attention these days is human microbiome. What is the role of human microbiome in initiation or in the progress of breast? So the notion that human breast is sterile tissue is no longer true. The recent race to characterize the human microbiome indicated that breast tissue has its unique microbial structure distinct from other sites and distal microbiomes. Now we have come to know about the presence of microbes in human milk. To add to this, the infant oral and skin microbes are also reported to have access to mammary ducts during breastfeeding. So, in subsequent years, 16S RNA sequencing and culturing methods have detected diverse communities of bacteria in the mammary tissue. These include Bacillus, Pseudomonas, Cytobacter, Listeria, Streptococcus, Staphylococcus, and the members of the class Enterobacteriaceae, Gamma Proteobacteriaceae, and family Comamodidaceae. So, these microbial communities are seen as an associate in convulsions and contribute towards breast by activating the immune surveillance pathways and degrading pathogen carcinogens. So recent studies suggest an active role of local and distant microbiota in breast cancer initiation, progression, and overall prognosis. Furthermore, the analysis of the published data sets, the recent public data sets with bioinformatic platform for microbial genomics reveal the composition of microbiome community varies in patients with breast cancer in different ethnicities. Also, it varies in nipple aspirate of survivors compared to those of healthy individuals. It is different between benign and malignant breast cancers. The analysis of 16S RNA has showed a higher relative evidence of Enterobacteriaceae, Bacillus, Staphylococcus, and unclassified bacteroides in the patients with breast cancer. So, how does microflora or microbiome they cause carcinogenesis? This is an important question to be addressed. So, here I will be discussing about microbiota driven carcinogenesis. To better understand the impact of microbiota on carcinogenesis in human, assembly of adequately sized human population for study is needed. Now, DNA from human tissue or other samples can then be extracted and sequenced for taxonomic and functional analysis of microbiota. In parallel, culturing of isolated microbes studies in animal models as well as profiling of immune responses to potential carcinogenic microbes will allow for discovery of microbiota associated mechanism driven carcinogenesis. From what is discovered in lab, prospective and longitudinal human studies will be required to confirm the causal effects of microbiota on human cancers. Now, both 16S RNA sequencing is done to know the functional aspect of carcinogenesis. Talking specifically about the oral cancer, the main pathophysiology, how the oral microbiota dysbiosis lead to or plays an important role in carcinogenesis is that there are many different mechanisms how it plays a role. Oral infections and dysbiosis are responsible for insaturation of the pro-inflammatory microenvironment of which inflammatory cytokines and matrix metalloproteinases favor the development and progression of tumors. Furthermore, the bacteria host in the oral cavity produces oxygen and nitrogen reactive species as well as oncogenic metabolites, for example nitrosamines, to induce genetic damage to the cells composing the oral mucosa. Another mechanism of neoplastic transformation mediated by oral dysbiosis is alteration of the epithelial barriers predisposing the individuals for the development of chronic precancerous lesions. Finally, oral dysbiosis is responsible for several epigenetic alteration predisposing the development of tumors. So, recently, a plethora of analyses periodontal disease have suggested that it may be correlated with the increased incidence of breast cancer development in postmenopausal women. For example, the study done by Fredo CS et al. It was a case-controlled study to evaluate the association between periodontitis and breast cancer in a sample of adult Brazilian women. So, women diagnosed with periodontitis had to three times higher odds of breast cancer than women without periodontitis. So the authors concluded that a significant association was observed between periodontitis and breast cancer. Similarly, another study done by Soderby et al., where the authors conducted the study to assess the correlation between periodontal disease and breast cancer in about 3,273 subjects of Sweden origin. They found that the chronic periodontal disease indicated by missing molars seemed to associate statistically with breast cancer. Another study done by Frudenhelm Jayal et al. In 2016 also observed a higher risk of breast cancer among study participants who self-reported having periodontal disease using data from 73,737 post-menopausal women followed up for 6.7 years. Another study which was done in 2008 by Jensen and colleagues, they discovered elevated levels of karyogenic oral microbes such as S. mutans and lactobacillus in breast cancer patients who were undergoing chemotherapy. These patients also exhibited more plaque formation, having higher inflammation in comparison to control group which was not receiving chemotherapy. But in contrast, few studies have shown no relation between the changes in the oral microflora and breast cancer. For example, a very recent study by Gia M. et al., where the authors tried to assess the relationship between periodontal disease and invasive breast cancer and ductal carcinoma in situ, otherwise called DCIS, separately in the same population. They examined 3,339 breast cancer patients, and they observed no clear association between periodontal disease and overall breast cancer risk. However, a non-statistical significance suggestive of increased risk of invasive breast cancer and decreased risk of DCIS associated with periodontal disease was observed, with evidence of heterogeneity in the risk. Similarly, another study by Campbell MJ et al., a very recent study which was done in 2019, where the authors characterize and compare the gut and oral microbiota from women with invasive breast cancer, women with DCIS, and healthy women. They also observe no difference in the alpha diversity of oral microbiota between any of the cohorts. Although numerous taxa in the oral microbiota were found to be differentially abundant between cohorts, especially the 7 genera which are Bacteroides, Blutia, Faecalibacterium, Rosoboria, Pseudobatrivibria, and Aeroseptais and Pseudolegranulum were all significantly enriched in the healthy oral samples compared to DCIS and breast cancer samples. Another study very recently done in 2019 by Bernhard VR also found no association between the levels of proportion of bacterial species and clinical parameters, although there were difference in the levels of few bacteria which were found in their highest levels and few were found in the lowest count, but this was not significantly associated between the levels. So another study which was done in 2017 by Wang H et al., they also found no significant difference in the oral rinse samples, where they examined the microbiome profiles in breast tissue, urine and oral rinse of breast cancer patients. The other studies which were done in 2003 by Hugol PP et al. Found no association between breast cancer, gingivitis, periodontitis or tooth loss. And in 2016, My X et al. Also conducted and showed in their research where they used data from the buffalo osteoporosis and periodontal disease study, where they again observed no association between periodontal pathogens and breast cancer among postmenopausal women. So the lack of consistency in data in this area necessitates deeper interrogation and clinical validation of more diverse cohorts to come to an unified conclusion. To conclude, with ever increasing evidence of periodontal disease in general health of the patients, it is needless to say that oral microflora directly or indirectly will have an impact in patients with cancer. Now, breast cancer being one of the most prevalent conditions is also one of the conditions where role of oral microflora cannot be denied. Even though a plethora of studies does suggest this association, there is still a need to leap into this ocean of knowledge and come up with concrete evidence that can open new horizons in our understanding of breast cancer and its dental relation. For the future prospective longitudinal studies are urgently needed to reveal the role of oral microbial dysbiosis that can potentially reduce breast cancer risk and improve outcomes of breast cancer patients. So this is my presentation. Thank you so much. In case if you have any doubts, you can direct your queries to this my email address, which is dr.rakhi.israni@jordan.org. Thank you so much.